It's very comforting to hear the voice of a friend or a loved one on the phone. Whether you're close or far, it's an easy way to connect with people. However, like any other form of technology, a simple phone call can be used by sinister individuals to cause fear and terror. Here are 10 terrifying mystery callers with creepy messages. Number 10 is outside town. Reddit is a great place where people can share their experiences, sometimes anonymously, sometimes not. In one post, a Reddit user named David920 posted his experience of living in the countryside, at least a 15-minute drive from the nearest town. He was in the 5th grade at the time and his parents were at work. While hanging around his home passing the time, the phone rang. On the other end was the voice of a man. In a low whisper, the man described the clothes David was wearing. It was then clear that the caller was watching him. He then asked David where his parents were. David lied and said that they were home, to which the caller sarcastically answered sure and started laughing. David called the police, who were luckily nearby. However, had they not been, who knows if the mystery caller would have come knocking at the door, or worse. Number 9 is Nothingness. Some calls are utterly mysterious. One account describes just such a mystery. In it, a man woke up one morning to find that he had missed a call. He wanted to call the number back, but it was withheld or blocked. Thinking nothing of it, he went about his day. However, the very next morning, he had another missed call, again from a blocked number. This soon became a daily occurrence. Eventually, he realized that the missed call had always happened at the exact same time, the stroke of midnight to be precise. The man decided to find out who was calling, so he stayed up until midnight. The phone rang only once that night and he wasn't able to answer it quickly enough. This went on for months. When he finally did react fast enough to answer, there was only silence on the other end of the line. It was as if nothingness itself had been calling. Number 8 is a direct line to hell. In some weird circumstances, we're not called by mystery callers, but instead we become a mystery caller. Take for example the experience of Elle on Reddit. Elle was trying to get through to a friend. After dialing the number, something strange happened. There were no rings, just silence. Then, suddenly, someone or something picked up. At first, a strange noise sounded. It was electronic like an old fax machine. However, soon this noise twisted and contorted until it changed into the horrific screams of countless people in pain. The voices rose up to a crescendo, becoming a terrible wailing sound. Then the call ceased. Elle's friend had no knowledge of the call, and Elle could only describe the experience as being like calling a fax machine if the machine was powered by human souls. Number 7 is Mother. While working at the Apple Store, one Redditor, we'll call her Sue, had a traumatic experience with a mystery caller. During a shift, a coworker answered a phone in the store and took a message. When the coworker relayed the message to Sue, it was met with disbelief. According to Sue's coworker, Sue's mother had just been on the phone. Sue informed her coworker that her mother had died when she was just a kid. Both Sue and her coworker were certain that it must have been a mistake. However, the coworker then revealed that the caller had given not only Sue's name, but had also identified herself using Sue's mother's real name. They were unable to find a number to call back, but most chilling of all is the message which the mother had left. She said, "Tell Sue I will be with her soon." Number 6 is a joke. Sona was in her home one night when the landline rang. At first, the person on the other end didn't say anything. Eventually, the person revealed himself to be a man. Sona didn't recognize the voice. She was convinced that he was a stranger. When she finally asked him, "Who is this?" the mysterious caller replied grimly, "Why do you want to know?" Then disturbingly, he said, "I can see you." Sona laughed this off and thought it was a bad joke. She even told the caller that his "I can see you" routine wasn't very original. At this point, a train passed on the tracks, which laid close to Sona's house, as loud as ever. That was when she heard it, the same train sound on the other end of the phone. The mysterious caller hung up, but he was most definitely nearby as his handset had picked up the same sound. Number 5 is Let Me In. In one Reddit post, a user, we'll call her Rachel, shared her chilling experience. It was 10 minutes after midnight and Rachel was startled by a phone call. When she answered, there was a woman on the line who was calling from outside Rachel's apartment building. Rachel had just moved across the country and forgot that it was her last apartment which had a call box outside. If someone wanted to buzz in, they called from the call box and then Rachel could buzz them in using an app on her phone. The woman kept using Rachel's name, pleading to come inside as she had nowhere to go. Even though Rachel was certain she didn't know the woman, she buzzed her in. That was when she realized that she had buzzed a stranger into her previous apartment building. She never found out what that stranger wanted or what they did once inside. Number 4 is a repeating message. Heavy breathing and mysterious callers, sitting silently on the other end of the line listening, are common components of creepy phone calls. However, in some instances, full messages are left. In a small number of these cases, the messages aren't even from people. One office worker from South Utica stayed late one night only to receive a call on her work phone. When she answered it, a robotic voice repeated a message about all members of the Department of Defense needing to prepare for an immediate terrorist attack and needing to avoid a specific location. The call then ended. The number was blocked and there was no way to call back. The office worker was never sure if it was a hoax or if the original owner of the number had been more than a simple office employee. Number 3 is a missing person. In one harrowing mystery caller encounter, a man discovered his new number had a terrifying history. When an unfamiliar person called, he answered. It was a young woman on the other end of the line, and this happened many times, but the woman did not identify herself and kept saying it was a mistake. Eventually, the call ceased. 6 months later, the man received another call, this time from a different number. When he answered it, he was greeted by an angry middle-aged woman. She said that her daughter had recently vanished and that he was the last person anyone saw her with. The man stated that he did not know what she was talking about. However, it soon became clear to him that the calls were connected and that the original caller was probably the missing daughter. To this day, nobody knows if she was ever found. Number 2 is the old woman. A Redditor by the name of Pure had an unnerving encounter with a mystery caller when she was in high school. One day, her cell phone rang. However, Pure was not able to answer it. The phone went to voicemail, and later she realized someone had left a message. Listening to the voicemail, Pure heard the voice of an elderly woman. She gave her name, address, date of birth, and her social security number. She then said that it was urgent and that whoever the call was intended for should call her back immediately. Worried that there was an emergency, Pure dialed the number to let the elderly lady know that she had dialed a wrong person. A younger woman then answered the call. When Pure told her what happened, the woman abruptly said that her mother was dead and then hung up the phone. And number 1 is I Know You. In one of the creepiest mystery phone calls ever reported, a woman anonymously described her strange experience. When Jill was still at school, she was stopped in a parking lot by a stranger. The stranger was a grown woman and she had a phone in her hand. She said Jill's name as though she knew her and told her that someone needed to speak with her on the phone. Taking the phone, Jill heard another kid about the same age as her on the line. They had a conversation, but it was a strange one. The kid on the phone never revealed her identity, nor did the woman. And yet, the girl on the phone knew everything about Jill. Her name, her interests, everything. After the conversation, the woman took back the phone and walked away. The mystery of who the girl on the phone was and how she knew so much was never solved. But as always, thank you for watching, for liking this video, and of course for subscribing to my channel. And a very special thank you to all of my channel members, especially the names you see on your screen right now. All of you help keep my channel going. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.